Well, welcome back, everybody. This is the Black Doctors Talk podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Christopher Holmes. Thank you guys so much for joining. I am here with another guest. This time, this guest is right in my back pocket. She is an educator, so I'm so excited to talk to her today. Now, if you know about teachers, we can get together and talk for hours. We won't do that today. We'll shorten a little bit, but we're definitely going to have some great conversation. I want you to welcome Dr. Thea Dirton to the show today. She is an experienced educator. She is a community leader, and she is a youth coordinator. Now, she does a whole lot more than that. So I just gave you a little bit of tidbit of who this phenomenal woman is. But I want you guys to welcome Dr. Dirton.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you for coming, and I am honored to be here.
Well, listen, I don't want to waste any time because I want to take full advantage of my 30 minutes that I have with you. So let's just start here. Tell us a little bit about young Thea. Who was she?
So I would say young Thea was a wonderful child. No, I'm just kidding. So I am a country girl at heart. And I consider myself still to be a country girl, even though I'm living in a big city now. But so I grew up in a single parent home, and early on, my mom told me, I can remember having, a conversation when I was maybe like 6 or 7. And she was just like, Thea, I want you to go to college, but I don't know how I'm going to get you there. I don't know how you're going to achieve this dream that I have for you. Mm-hmm. And so, as time went on, we had this conversation many times. And, sometimes I would look at her and be like, look, I don't know how I'm going to get there either. But as I went through junior high, middle school, it became evident to me that, hey, I'm intelligent. So let me use my education in my favor. I shouldn't squander it. I should take full advantage of my God-given abilities. And so, I started to push myself. In different types of areas because, I had my eyes set on going to college. And, from that conversation that we had many years ago, I knew it would be on me to pay for it any way I could. So I pushed myself to be in honors classes. I pushed myself to be a part of things. Of course, I had to work in order to, get the things that I wanted personally right then in that moment. So I was working, playing sports. That didn't deter me from getting involved in some foolishness along the way. But yeah, young Thea was, energetic. I would say confident, but a lot of things that I had going on, all these issues I had going on, would say that I wasn't really that confident. Sorry, I got a little distracted. But so I ended up getting a full ride to college. Between
what paid off for you? It paid off.
Yeah. So it did. And I tell the students that I see in the hallway that may not value education, like, listen, I went to school for free. They actually paid me to go to college because I got a refund check and did all kinds of things with it. So they actually paid me to go to college. So education in the long run pays off. And there's not anything extra that you have to have, because I grew up poor and the students that I work with grow up poor. Like there's not anything extra that you have. It's what you have in your brain. You have access to everything that you need in order to be successful. And so, anytime I get a chance to talk to students about that, I do. And I know they're like, here she go, telling me I need to read books. But I mean, you do reading books, just something. I mean, I say it's simple, but for some students, it's not as simple as, for many of us. But reading books, paying attention in class, doing whatever needs to be done in order to make sure you get a great education.
You know what? So what you just said actually just will preach anywhere, even to adults. even to those who are in the field already, or those who are trying to get into their prospective fields, it's not about what you're trying to possess. It's about using what you already have.
What you already have.
And so many of us are on this journey or in this journey of life to seek more. And what you have is enough. You don't need anything else. You already have it. Especially for kids in poverty, right? They look around, especially in social media, right? They see people have so much. And so it is their desire to go and get it, and they want it fast. To realize that some of that stuff, those people don't even own. It's not even theirs. It's not even theirs. So did you grow up thinking possibly that you would go into education?
Yes, I did. My mom can tell me stories about, I was a teacher and I had my little students spread out, and she would be a student in my class. So I wanted to be a teacher for as long as I could remember. However, from that point, I wanted to be a teacher and then an administrator. And that's when my path got a little cloudy, because when I first got my taste of real administration, I was like, oh, whoa, this might not be for me. So that's how I ended up being an instructional coach, because I really valued the role of education already, but just making a difference in the lives of teachers and students, not just in the four walls of my classroom, but also in the school and at the district level.
So I have two questions for you. So the first one is this: why did you decide to leave the classroom?
I would say I decided to leave the classroom because, kind of like I said before, I knew I was really good at teaching. Like, my kids love me. Every year they'd be like, are you coming to high school with me? Are you coming to high school with me? And I'm like, no. And then I coached as well. I coached sports as well. And I also worked with new teachers. And so all of that kind of combined to be like, I not that teach. I feel like teaching is the ultimate purpose, and I will go back to teaching one day, just because it's just a passion that I have to teach kids. But I do feel like just going beyond, moving beyond my four walls of my classroom is what really spurred me to, begin into coaching, because, I had a mentee that I worked with, and I worked with teachers that, student teachers and practicum teachers. But, I just feel like, especially, I know you work in Title I schools as well. We got 18 new teachers this year. Some were from educational backgrounds and some were not, through alternative certification. So just seeing that need when I was a teacher just spurred me into getting into coaching. And so now I get to work with more than one teacher. I mean, I do miss the kids. That's why I know I'll be back to education. But just working with first year teachers and seeing that growth in them is so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
And, I had to understand, my passion was really to support learning for students. So I was resistant to leave the classroom. Like, I was literally forced out. I was being pulled out of that classroom. And I had a mandate. I will give you one more semester of teaching and I am pulling you out. And I kept saying, no. But I realized later on that it was the right decision, because if I could have the level of impact I was having on my 35 students,
yes,
how much greater impact can I have if I'm working with teachers that are then working with these same students? So I went from a group of 35 to like hundreds of students. And so I didn't see it in the beginning, though. I was like, no, I want to be comfortable. I'm happy. I know how to do this. I can do it well. Leave me alone. And then he was like, no, you're out. You're out. So my other question is this: with your taste of administration, why is this role of coaching more suited to you than actual going into principalship or assistant principalship?
Well, so I hate, not to get all into this, but I'm an empath, and I also I'm an Aquarius. So we feel all the feelings, right?
Yeah.
So, I just did bus referrals. So every day I did bus referrals. So every day I did bus referrals. And so when I would do bus referrals and kids would come to you and they would lie to you about what, and I'm like, I can see you on the camera, but they would still lie to you. And then the parents would lie to you. And so I didn't like that feeling. Like I didn't like that feeling of people are there and they're just trying to get out of trouble. So they're telling you anything that, that you want to hear in order to, get out of trouble. And so that was the main reason. Like, you be honest with me so I can help you with whatever you need help with. You don't have to lie to me, and even as an administrator, you can explain that over and over and over again. But when people see you and see that title, they're gonna be like, nope, I'm trying to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing.
And I asked you that question because there may be other people who are watching and they feel like the only other option after leaving the classroom is to go straight into administration. Mm-hmm. And not so. There are so many opportunities out there in leadership that is not school-based or being over a school. So if you're on the EDD journey or the PhD journey and you're in education, don't limit yourself just to being a principal. There are so many things out there. I led for a little while, but I knew too that wasn't the path for me. I was like, out. I need to do something else. I need something related to instruction, right? And being in my doc program and then meeting people with this network, I have learned of so many opportunities that have helped me now, even as a consultant. So I think you saying that is important because somebody needs to hear that because somebody's probably pushing them in that direction. I'm sure people were trying to push you in that direction. And you're like, nope, not doing it. Bus reform was my limit and I'm done.
That's it. That's it. And I dealt with, I was an athletic director as well. Oh. And that's a whole nother set of, whole nother set of issues. So now you got, parents trying to get the kids to play, the kids, like, it's just, it was just, I'm not going to use the term overwhelming because, I wasn't very overwhelmed, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And I decided that this role, is supportive and, I can offer support to students and offer support to teachers.
So my next question for you is, I know you've been in education for a while now. How has it changed?
I will say that it's definitely changed a lot. Like the face of education looks very different. So I remember we first went to, online grade books and it was a crazy transition. I guess that's telling my age a little bit, but then we went to doing mostly everything on the computer. And then now I think we're kind of scaling back to let's find this balance of computer, paper, things. So education has changed a lot in those aspects. However, I will say that, being an educator is about meeting the needs of students.
Yes.
So, though it has changed a lot, it's also stayed the same. So if and that's a part of my research, when I was looking at content delivery methods and do students perform better if the contents are interactive, if the content methods are interactive, or if it's more of a lecture-based kind of teacher-centered content delivery methods. And what I found was, yes, the engaging strategies such as group work and all those things that are student-focused, students talking to each other work. But also, I had this one teacher and she lived and died by her book and her worksheets, and she was going to give a worksheet every day. However, she loved those kids and the kids loved her. And so it was really just that relationship that she built with those kids. So education has changed. Yeah, it has changed. PBL, group work, all those we need students to develop those soft skills. Yeah. But also, if we love on our students, they'll perform for us. So it's kind of a give and take.
I agree. I definitely don't think that the goals needed to change. The expectation for what we're doing in education needs to stay the same. The vehicle we use sometimes may differ. I think the problem is that I think some people get more focused on the vehicle than the goal. And then we lose sight of why we're even in the buildings or in the classroom every day anyway. Let's talk about COVID and teachers and technology. So talk about your school before COVID and then how you all shifted during COVID.
So I would say luckily our school was one-to-one before COVID. So we were using tools such as Google Classroom, and we were using means of electronic communication. So we were doing things like that before, but then when COVID hit, there was a shift, and we really saw like, I would say it really highlighted the disparities between students. So yeah, it's okay, we can all go home and people can do work at home, but what if you don't have access to internet? What if you have a computer, but your sister's borrowing, but so it really highlighted the disparities among students. So we had to do things like, we had to get hotspots. We had to have teachers, call students on the phone. We had to provide places for students that they could walk and get access to internet or power if their power was out that day. So it really highlighted the disparities of students, and we really had to work harder to meet those students' needs. I would say I was actually teaching a class when COVID hit, and it really struck me by how it affected people in different ways. Like I had students that would come and they would be engaged and they would be learning, but then when I'm trying to connect with them over the computer screen, it's different because now it's not, it's harder to build those relationships and even maintain those relationships. So it's like, wait a minute now, like we were cool before, and now it's like, I can't get you to even come on and, do this work with me. But so mindsets had to shift, and we had to reach a little bit deeper to fill gaps and fill voids, and so it's definitely a shift, and I can see the results now in our students. So even though they're here in the building, they've got a lot of growing to do. So when I see an 8th grader now, they're maybe acting like a 6th grader, or they're acting like a 5th grader. And it's a part of my job to make sure that teachers know. So yeah, the student's age might be 14, but they went home and sat home all year, or maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and they missed out on that growth that they would have normally had in a school setting. So we're going to have to just meet them where they are. We're going to have to meet them where they are. We can no longer assume that, they can sit there, which they shouldn't be sitting for 50 minutes anyway, but we can no longer assume that they can sit there for 50 minutes because they're used to just, being able to go to the bathroom whenever they want, or they're used to kind of being on their own, doing their own thing. So we have to make adjustments for that because we got to meet those needs as well.
I think that's important. What you just said is that the way we meet them at their point of need looks so different now. I mean, you really hit it on the head. These 8th graders, so to speak, if we use it as an example, maturity-wise, they haven't been in school in 2 years. So you're really dealing with a 6th grader fresh out of elementary who is now trying to deal with having some level of freedom, right? Just a little bit more, not as much as the 9th grade, but they still have some freedom, like going to the bathroom on their own. And somehow they don't come back. It's like, it's a 30-second walk. How do you come back 20 minutes later? It's like, so that's a big shift. And I'm seeing in my work, I'm seeing the same thing you're talking about. I'm seeing 6th graders who are out of control because they were in fourth grade when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And being in middle school is like a big shift. And they're like, I don't want to say like little chickens running around, but that's what it feels like. They're hoarding these chickens to come and sit down just to listen. So that's what it feels like. So thank you for that. But I do want people to really think about that. In education, when students come to school and we create those safe learning environments, we're talking about factors that we can control. When they leave us and the responsibility is still to teach, and then they learn all those things that we had at our fingertips to control, we no longer control those things. at all. We don't do it at all, guys. So when you describe the work that you do now on a daily basis, I just want you to talk about how taxing it is now versus being in the classroom.
I would say it's taxing because you're basically everything for everybody. Like, people are calling you, texting you, emailing, calling on the walkie-talkie, stopping by, and it's all different things. Like, so far today, I have sat in a PD with some English teachers. I helped a course teacher figure out Google Classroom. I helped an intervention teacher group kids create a pre-assessment. So it's just, you're pulled in all these different directions, and it can be very overwhelming at times. And so, but also looking on the bright side, it's different and it's new and it's fresh. And I get to use these skills that I wouldn't have been able to use. And, I can use my research that I had spent years working on, so when people come to me and ask for suggestions, or that I see lesson plans and they plan to talk for 45 minutes, I can say, well, have you thought about this? What about a gallery walk? What about a think, pair, share? How can you incorporate these student-centered strategies that we know our students learn best by in your lessons? So it's difficult, and I go a million miles all the time, and my brain is constantly on, but it's also rewarding. I may not have taught 30 kids today, but I touched 200 kids' lives.
Wow,
because I was able to, influence their teacher or work out an idea with their teacher that they really love. And who knows, now that kid will be like, well, that was great. Let me do X, Y, Z, or let me move on and let me take this step further. Yeah. So it's rewarding, but super busy. And so, but I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for anything right now. But so
I call it the position of many heads, because you wear so many hats.
Yes. So many hats.
So let me ask you this. What led you to the doctorate?
Honestly, I would say, as an African American woman, as a Black female, there's microaggressions and things that we have to go through, that we deal, that come to us every day, because I'm a woman, because I'm Black, because I'm from a poor background. And that, to me, the doctorate was like the ultimate, like, this is me being the ultimate 2%, right? And so that's why I was like, I'm gonna go all the way. I'm gonna go as far as I can go. And I can go further. And I'm actually taking class now, and I'm like, whoo, this is taking me back. Because you never want to stop learning. So even though I have attained my doctorate, I'm still growing and learning and trying to be a better leader. And even like my first year when I became a coach, this lady just randomly walked up in the hallway, and she was like, oh, hey, yeah, I looked at your research. What? How did you, I've only been here for like 2 weeks, but you done already checked me out. But, and so, in the educational field, in any field, really, people want to know that you know what you're talking about. And so it's not only about having the years of experience that I did in the classroom and seeing the success, and I can pull out my test scores if you want to see them, but it's also about, I'm a learner, and, and I just want, here's my doctor right here. I got my, I got my dissertation up. I got my, my degree up. And so when people come in, yes, I can help you on whatever level you want to be helped on. But also, I deserve this respect because I've earned it, and I need that respect.
And, and that's one of the things that we really love talking about here with the Black Doctoral Network and pushing, is that we have Black individuals who are experts in their field. We're not just offering random advice. We've done the work, we've done the research, and we can create change because we have the experience. And so, unfortunately, like you just said, we have to prove that we deserve positions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why is she looking on your LinkedIn and looking at your research? But at the same time, you have nothing to be ashamed about.
Nope.
Continue to look because there's a lot there, sweetheart. I've got a
That's
lot
right.
of things you can look up. So,
Yep.
hey, keep perusing. If you need help, just know that I'm here to help you. I got your back. That's so crazy, but I love it. It. Like you said, it was a slap in the face for her.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think, well, who are you to get
Who
this?
was that? Yeah. Here it is. You can see
He's
it.
like, oh, well, let me show you who I am.
You want to read it?
CV.
Here you go.
Check my CV out. That's who I am.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, who has had a tremendous impact on you in your career so far?
I would say first off, my mom.
Yeah.
Because I saw her, struggling, and she wanted the best for me. It wasn't even about her, but she wanted the best for me. Yeah. So also going back to your previous question, the doctorate, like what you should see my mama's face light up. She's like, oh, this is my daughter, Dr. Thea Dirton. I see you shining, Mom. And shine because, she really pushed me, and she really, was like, I don't know what you're doing, but go out there and do it, and I'm gonna support you. And so, also my second year teaching, I worked with an African American woman who had her doctorate, and she really she was just everything. She was 10 every day, and I was like, ma'am, yes, I want to be like you. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna put you on my vision board. And so she really just, she was just, I was like, yes, that's what I want. That's what I want to aspire to. And then I also, another lady, she had her doctorate, and she wasn't 10 every day, but just her quiet level of leadership and introspection was just, it was great for me. And I'm from a small country town, so I didn't even have a Black teacher until I got to college. And then the one that I had wasn't the best. So just getting out and seeing these Black women, Black people in general, just doing their things. And I was just like, yes, I want to be that. Whatever y'all got, I want to, So, and they really inspired me.
And now guess what?
Yeah, I know.
Now you're that for somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And without even attempting to pay it forward, you do. Mm-hmm. And not only are other teachers looking at you, those young Black girls who have never met a female with a doctorate degree are going to say to themselves, I can do that. Number one, because Dr. Dirton has done it, but you're also inspiring them to live at their highest potential. Yeah. Don't give up on yourself. And like you said earlier, there is nothing else that you need. Everything that you need to be successful, you already have. You already have it. So I know with this research, there's more that you want to do with it. And so we do have our conference coming up in Atlanta, which is in my backyard. And so I know you're going to be there. So talk about how excited you are about the conference and what you're going to be doing at the conference.
Yes, I am very excited to be at the conference. I will be a panel presenter, and it's just, I am excited because I always learn. So I attended the virtual conference last year, and the people that I was on the panel with were amazing, amazing Black educators, and I learned so much from them, and we just had a great time. Sharing our research, and even the attendees got involved. We had great discussions. So, and that was through Zoom. So I'm just excited to be there in person, learning with and talking to other scholars who are just there and, that show up in their greatness and Blackness. And I'm just so excited to be there. So, yeah, and I'm going to present my research. And I'm excited. I'm just ready to go.
So you've never been in person. So no, this is going to be a whole new experience. Yes. Let me tell you, if you could feel it through Zoom, physically, the energy in the space is illuminating. Yes. If that makes sense. You can feel the excellence as you breathe in the air.
Yeah.
But it feels safe.
Yeah.
And it feels good to be in an environment where people honor you, respect you, value you, but they also look like you. And there's nothing greater than being in a space where you can authentically walk into space, being confident in who you are and what you know. And so I love it. And so if you have people who are still debating, what would you tell them?
Do it. Go for it. No. So the amount that I learned just by being in the space last year virtually was great. So if you are debating on doing it, go for it. It's worth the money. You know, the experience is going to be great. We're going to be in Atlanta, so I'm excited about that because I love that city. And do it. Go for it. I'll be there. We can sit down and I will also add that the people who I was on a panel with last year and the attendees, like we still keep in touch. Awesome. Like we're still sharing ideas. And I'm still learning from them, learning and growing.
Wow. So. See, that's why it's called the Black Doctoral Network. People.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, listen, I know that you are actually in your office at school. I know, listen, I know they're knocking, kids are waving, people are walking by, they need you, they're pulling you in. So I want to thank you so much for just taking time out to do this interview with me. Dr. Thea Dirton, could you please tell our viewers and listeners where they can go to learn more about you and the work that you're doing, especially your research?
Yes, so I do have a blog, and it is Facilitating Chaos, because that's what we do here. I mean, that's what we do as educators. So it's facilitatingchaos.blogspot.com. And so you can go there. Feel free to look me up on LinkedIn so we can connect with each other. And that's it. But feel free to reach out, email me. We can share ideas and network.
There you go. Go check her out. She's got a lot of great things going on and a lot of great things coming up in the future. And when you're at the conference, not if you attend, but when you're at the conference, make sure you check her out, guys. Don't miss out on the things she's going to drop on you at the conference. And while you're checking out Dr. Dirton, go ahead, follow the Black Doctoral Network on all of our social media platforms as well. We would love to connect with you and share with you as well. Well, guys, that's it. We are done. This has been another fantastic interview. I want to thank Dr. Dirton again for joining me today. I will be back next time. But until then, as I always tell you, be safe, be blessed, and I'll see you then.